Hello, Patrick here again. Today's video is going to be about the 9/11 terrorist attacks. Now, that's probably not a pleasant thing to think about, but it is something that did happen 13 years ago yesterday. As today is the 12th of September. It happened on September the 11th. Now, there are a few things you need to know about me when it comes to that date. One, because I am the oldest person in this vlog group, I'm pretty much the only person that would have much to say about it. Because specifically, I turned 18 3 days prior. My birthday is 9/8. And secondly, I live in northwestern Pennsylvania. For my birthday, my parents took I and my twin brother to the Carnegie Museum in Pittsburgh. And guess where the flight that fought back crash landed? Outside Pittsburgh. Yeah. Not only was my birthday 3 days prior, 3 days prior, was in a city that had that flight crash land. I remember that day. I still do. 13 years ago, and I still vividly remember that day. Before then, I didn't have too much of an idea of the world around me. I didn't know what other countries were like at all. I didn't know what other people were like. I didn't know their thoughts on America. I thought the idea of people hating America was long past. I was dead wrong, as many people were. I was in school at the time. It was a school day. I was going to my second class. It was a social studies-like class. I think it was called government. That's basically what the class was on, government. And I remember just walking in and getting the announcement that the trade towers had been hit by a plane. And quite honestly, the first thought I had was, what kind of moronic pilot doesn't see a bunch of buildings in front of him? I thought it was an accident. Like just a plane lost control and slammed into a building. That happens a lot. Well, not a lot. I don't want to dissuade anyone from flying, but most crashes are just like that. The pilot lost control and crashed somewhere. That's what I immediately thought it was, until I heard about a second plane that hit, and that both hits were intentional. They aimed straight in and hit them. That was such a bizarre thing to hear about. And for the next few days, pretty much every class I had just had the TV on. My school had televisions in every classroom, the small one. Each class had the TV on the news, and just the entire class who were sitting there watching the news, wondering what was going to happen next. Were there going to be any more attacks? And like I said, then I heard about another plane crash landing outside Pittsburgh, which is only maybe an hour and a half or so drive south from where I am right now. That was kind of creepy, that plane could have crashed out there, that they could have fought back. I didn't know about that until maybe a few years later, hearing about the flight that fought back. Even then, we were still learning new things about it, and this is still a very fresh thing in a lot of people's minds. Like I said, I didn't understand much about the world outside of my little corner of it in northwestern Pennsylvania, but after that, I started to learn more about the world around me. And that's where I started to learn more about the people and the cultures and the history and the reasoning. It was very bizarre to me. And near the end of my senior year, I tried to join the military. Tried to join the Army. My twin brother joined the Air Force. They didn't accept me because I had failed my high school hearing test. Yes, I am part deaf. I have moderate tinnitus that's ringing in the ears. I've had it almost all my life, so I don't notice anything off about it. But that's beside the point. I just wanted to tell you some of my thoughts about, terrorism. About how I find it odd that someone could just hate you for something that you probably didn't even do. I mean, what did Al Qaeda hate America for, really? And did they think that attacking the most powerful militarily powerful country on earth, did they think that that was going to end well for a lot of people? They may have fought a successful guerrilla war, but eventually it ended in the death of their leader, and in a lot of their kind. It ended in a lot of damage to them, when all they did was knock down a few of our buildings. It's kind of like they slapped America, and then we beat them over the head with a baseball bat. Did that help them? Help their message in any way? They were trying to see themselves as some great warriors, fighting for the little people. They may have been doing that, but in what?
Nothing, I was just stretching my neck.
They may have seen themselves as great warriors, but in the end, all they were looked at like was just monsters that would kill people that had nothing to do with them. These people were on commuter airlines. They were some of them were probably flying home. Others were probably flying to a job interview, or maybe their real job. They may be flying on vacation. Did the people flying on vacation really deserve to die just because they were born in a country that you just happen to not like? My belief on how to deal with people is you can't hate someone for something they had no choice over. For example, my red hair, the whole gingers are soulless thing. You hate me because I didn't choose to have red hair? You hate me because I didn't choose to be near damn blind? You hate me because I didn't choose to be below average height? You hate me for that? They hate America, American citizens, for something they had no choice over? Don't hate people that don't have a choice over things in their life. The Al Qaeda didn't like the American government and how they dealt with certain things in the Middle East. That's a whole other thing. That's pretty much an extension of Charlie Wilson's war, but that's just such a silly thing to start a war over. To destroy two gigantic and important buildings, to kill hundreds of people. It's such a silly thing. I barely have any words for it. I'm sorry if I'm rambling on, but this is something that... Hate is something that I have a hard time understanding. I've gotten rid of most of my hate. I don't want to sound odd, but I do have a lot of anger in me, but I've gotten rid of most of it, and I've tried to understand where the anger comes from and deal with it in a healthy fashion. Most of the time, things that used to make me angry don't anymore, because I've just learned to accept that there are things you can change and there are things you can't. You just gotta learn to go with the flow. If you don't like someone, if you don't like where someone comes from, the kind of life they live, most of the time, too damn bad. It's not going to help you to attack them. Like I was saying, what did they hope to gain from attacking the World Trade Center? The death of hundreds of their kind, the decimation of their country, and the assassination of their leader? Is that what their end goal was? Seems like a silly end goal. Because that's what was going to happen. It's like It's like a child, like a puppy, walking up to a big dog and just smacking at it or biting at it. What does that puppy hope to accomplish? And I'm not. That's the wrong way of putting it. I don't want to say that Al Qaeda are puppies. They have a right to be upset. They have a right to feel bad about being marginalized. That's part of Charlie Wilson's War Again. You want to look it up. It's actually a very interesting time in America. And the man, Charlie Wilson, is a very interesting and passionate man. But to go that far is very bizarre to me. I can't imagine going that far because I think too heavily on topics. I think too heavily on things. I try to think of all the branches that history could make. I think I've rambled on enough by now. I think I'd like to end it at that. Just think about what paths might occur, what paths you might take from your actions. And that'll help keep you from being a bad person. Patrick signing off.